Hey, how's it going? I'm IlaGolden and welcome to Ila Reads. That one there, it's perfect! Lila's voice was almost filled with schoolgirl glee. I want you to get a full-size colour version of that one done for me as soon as possible. You, Still Mayfeather, are a genius, I swear. In response, Still shrugged and slid his gaze away. Echo did her best to follow his new sightline to see if it was once again in May's direction. Unfortunately, it was too hard to tell anything for sure. Still, she had a plan to get the two of them better acquainted. Not that she had any intention of embarrassing Still about his little crush, but she did want to see him socializing a little bit more. You know, the kids would love for you to stay for dinner tonight. She smiled at him as Lilith walked off in Twig's direction to give her some last-minute things to do before they finally wrapped for the day. I'm making vegetable stew. She stretched the words out to be as tempting as possible, knowing it was the closest thing he had to a favourite. Once again, Still's response was to shrug and not to give a firm opinion either way. I've also invited Zanny, May, and Jet round. Liv insists on us bonding as much as possible in order to give a truly energetic interpretation of the crew. She did her best to imitate Lilith. So you won't be awkwardly the only one there. Her words made his eyes brighten with curiosity. It was only a small, subtle change in them, but knowing him as well as she did, Echo knew she had him hooked. Of course, I know you're not a big fan of crowds, so if you want to sit this one out and join us on a quieter night, I will understand. Anyway, I need to grab my things and go pick up the kids now. Let me know what you decide. The stew had been slow cooking all day, so by the time Echo, her kids, and guests entered her house, the whole place smelt delicious. The way this made Still's almost expressionless expression relax slightly let her know he was serious about staying, and the smell of his favourite food put him at ease. So you live in a bungalow, Echo? May was the first to start giving herself a tour. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I really wasn't sure what kind of house you lived in, and I didn't want to be rude by assuming it was a bungalow when it could easily have been anything. Nia and I did look at a lot of different options before we settled on this one. Echo took her head thoughtfully. I do have a spare chair in case anything happens to this one, and stair lifts aren't too expensive if you're only talking a single straightforward flight of stairs. But in the end, this was the one which felt the most like home. Plus it helped that Pico really seemed to like it. You already had Pico when you moved in here? May stared. She was about 2.5. Until that point, I was still living in the little flat I'd rented after Alonzo decided I was old enough to live on my own and Nia was still living with his parents. Between the two of us, we somehow managed to save up enough for a deposit on this place. It wasn't easy back then. He was a struggling artist and I was struggling to find work thanks to the fear my dear old grandpatch put into people. But for all the people who refused to give me the time of day, there was Lilith. I honestly don't know where we would have ended up if it wasn't for her. Every time I hear a little more about your past, it makes me feel sad. May looked deflated for a moment. I can't imagine what it must have been like for you. Honestly, it wasn't all that bad. An honest smile twitched her lips. And I really wouldn't change a single moment of it, because I know the end result was more than worth it. Anyway, what do you say we go have some food now? That stew is smelling more than ready to me, and I'm starving. Me too, May bristled with excitement. You like stew? Sid's eyes went big and wide with curiosity. Of course I do. It's so yummy and warms my tummy, she giggles. Yummy, yummy, tummy, tummy. She crouched down beside him and began tickling his sides, making him giggle. What do you say we race to the kitchen? First one there gets their dinner first. Before she'd even finished speaking, Sense was already racing down the hallway, squealing with delight. Cheetah! May laughed as she pretended to chase after him. The whole thing made Piccolo roll her eyes and mutter something under her breath. Instantly, Echo shot her a warning look. She didn't know why her daughter was being so difficult at the moment, but she had promised she'd be on her best behaviour in front of their guests. Piccolo. Echo kept her tone low but stern. Yeah, Piccolo muttered as she made her way to the kitchen. With a heavy sigh, Echo pushed herself forward and ended up being the last to make it to the kitchen. Once there, she used her telekinetic abilities to lay out the large, high-rimmed plates, or flat bowls as she and Nia had liked to call them, for everyone. She then took the large pressure cooker off the stove and moved it to the heat-proof mat in the centre of the table, removed the lid and fetched the ladle. Everyone feel free to help themselves to as much or as little as they want. I've made loads. She smiled around at the others as she served up Synth's plateful. You mean I could serve my own for once? Piccolo gave her several pleadingly wide-eyed blinks of innocence. Okay, she eyed her suspiciously. Just this once, but I expect you to eat everything on your plate. Of course! Her smile was almost suspiciously false. As suspicious as she was of her daughter's motives, Echoe wasn't about to make a scene about it. Instead, she handed Synth his plate and then gave the ladle to the person on her right, which just so happened to be May. Don't you want your own first? No, I'll do myself last, she smiled. I'd feel too self-conscious else. I guess I would too, May giggled, before helping herself to several large ladlefuls. Leave some for the rest of us, Lenny smirked as he took the ladle off of her. There's still loads in there, she grinned back. There wouldn't have been for much longer if you kept going like that. He shot her a playful look as he gave himself a smaller serving than her and passed the ladle on to Jet. So are you vegetarian then? Jet glanced towards Echoe as he began filling his plate. Not strictly, no. My choice of lifestyle comes more from near. Like most angelic fairies, he and his family are vegetarian, and I just got used to an almost meat-free diet. I still have bits and pieces occasionally, but, well, I guess you could say I got used to going without. So I guess that means you're a vegetarian, right? May's eyes went straight towards Stowe. I mean, of course you are. You are Nia's brother, right? And if his whole family are vegetarian, and if you're a member of his family, then you have to be one too. Sorry. In response, Stowe just shrugged. Only, unlike his usual nonchalant way of communicating, this shrug looked more awkward and embarrassed. It was pretty much all the confirmation Echoe needed that he was developing a little crush on May. Not that she was going to embarrass him by saying anything, even to him, on his own. It was just nice to know there was a part of him which could have a normal reaction to the wider world. A strange feeling of hope for the future moved through her as she momentarily pictured Stowe with his own little family. I'm done. It's your turn, Mama. Piccolo handed the ladle back to her. Is that really all you're taking? She eyed up the almost empty plate. If I want more, I'll have it after, but since you said I have to clear my plate, I didn't want to take the chance. Her voice was too sweet and innocent. Part of Echoe really wanted to chide her daughter for her almost passive-aggressive behaviour, but they had company, so she would let it drop till later. Okay, Pico, if you say so, she began serving her own. I just wouldn't want to see you going hungry. That's all. The following couple of days were relatively and strangely uneventful, and that made Echoe feel uneasy. She wasn't sure what she was expecting to happen exactly, but the fact nothing was didn't sit well with her. As she was thinking these thoughts for about the 100th time, Still walked into the practice theatre. He made a beeline straight for Leia and began showing her the finished product. From the look on her face, Echoe could tell it was exactly what she was hoping for. Does this mean he's going to stop coming round to see us rehearse? The focus of May's gaze was clear as she nibbled on the corner of her sandwich. It's what it usually means. Echoe figured being honest was the best way to go. What it usually means? You must have noticed he's quiet and pretty awkward around people. Hanging about a large theatre company like this is probably his least favourite activity. So why does he bother then? Jet cocked an eyebrow. If he hates it so much, why doesn't he just do all his work from home? That which we fear or find uncomfortable can also inspire us. Echoe met his gaze with a serious expression of her own. And if you don't believe my words alone, use his work as evidence. Okay, I'll admit what I've seen is pretty good, but I still don't get the guy. I mean, what kind of person spends their life communicating through a series of shrugs? It's just wrong. I don't think so. May's face filled with a soft smile. In fact, if it wasn't for Zanny, I might have ended up that way too. You're saying your calm and collected boyfriend is the reason you act like a hyperactive squirrel on speed? Jet half rolled his eyes. For a start, Zanny is not my boyfriend, May shot back. And for a second, he really did bring me out my shell. That's why he's the only one who knows how to calm me down when I go too over the top. The very idea someone like you had a shell they needed to come out of, Jet muttered as he got to his feet. Well, I'm going to find some sane company to spend the last 20 minutes of my lunch break with. You want to join me, Echoe? His eyes lingered on her for a moment. No, I'm okay here. I don't mind the insanity, she laughed, hoping his comment had been meant with humour. Suit yourself. With that he left. For a long moment Echoe found herself staring after him, feeling like she'd done the wrong thing. There it was again, that feeling she was just a schoolgirl with a crush. God, he's such a jerk. Zanny half glared in his direction, breaking Echoe's train of thought. Tell me again exactly how we ended up with someone like him as part of the crew. Because we have good chemistry when we're on stage together, May almost sighed. But I wouldn't take how he is too personally. I see darkness in his blood. Echoe frowned as her eyes closely studied her. I know it might be hard to believe, but I can see the world differently. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just something I've always had, she laughed. Nobody knows quite how or why I have it, but it's on my registered powers and abilities list. She seemed to inflate a little with pride, before becoming more thoughtful. You know, people with mixed blood often look like they have dark bits in it, and it can affect people a lot more than they realise. He's part imp too, and the fact that imps tend to be more introverted probably doesn't help him either. So maybe the combination of both means he just finds it too difficult to be in anyone's company for any length of time. Or maybe I'm barking completely up the wrong tree. Maybe the fact he knows people can tell he's part imp just by looking at him makes him fear people will judge him for it, and he gets all pre-defensive about who he is and where he comes from, and he finds it hard to let his guard down, and we get the idea, May. Zanny held up a hand to silence her. But just because he could have a good reason doesn't mean he's not a jerk. And it's not like he hasn't had time to get to know us a little better by now. He should have realised none of us are judgmental, yet he still keeps us at arm's length and belittles us every chance he gets. Well, most of us. He shot Echoe a quick look before shrugging. He's a jerk, plain and simple. I'm not going to take sides in this debate. Echoe held up her hands. Not when I can see both sides and know how kids with mixed background can feel some kind of pressure the rest of us don't even think about. At least I think that's what's been bothering my daughter so much recently. You think your daughter is bothered by her mixed heritage? May half blinked at her. Why? Little things, she lowered her gaze. Like the way she never refers to herself as being part Neath, only ever as being an angelic fairy. She's a kid. She still has plenty of time to learn she's nothing to be ashamed of. Zanny shot her a sympathetic look. But I think all hope might be lost for our dear friend Jet. He's made his choice about who he wants to be, and I don't think there's anything anyone can do about it. Unusually for him, Still had hung around until the end of the rehearsals that day. Usually once his client was happy with his commission, that was it. You didn't see him for love nor money. But this time, something had convinced him it was worth sticking around, and Echoe couldn't help but wonder if that something had anything to do with May. You have the kids again today, right, Echoe? May appeared beside her as she finished gathering her things together. Yeah, I do. Do you want to join me picking them up? Yeah, if you don't mind, she gave a nervous laugh. I mean, I think I actually managed to bond with Sith a little the other day, and it would be nice to maintain that. And I like being thought of as an honorary aunt. Are you sure that's the only reason you want to stick around? Echoe eyed her up curiously. Well, before she could finish whatever it was she was about to say, Still appeared beside them. I guess this will be the last time you'll probably get to see them for a little while, huh? Echoe shot him a warm smile. Is that why you hung around? Still gave one of his usual shrugs, but his focus was fixed on May. The second he became aware of the fact Echoe knew that's where his attention lay, however, his gaze broke away, and he gave another of his shrugs. You make it sound like he can't just drop round at the end of rehearsals any time he likes to see them. May's words were close to sounding like a rushed jumble. Not that I want to assume he would, of course, but there's absolutely nothing to stop him from dropping by and seeing them, right? I mean, maybe he's enjoyed spending time with them recently and wants that to continue just a little longer. There would be nothing wrong with that if he did, right? I mean, in a moment Echoe couldn't have imagined happening, Still gently tapped May on the nose. Instantly her babbling stopped, and for a few moments the two of them just held each other's gazes. Still was the first to break it with another of his shrugs, before turning and almost indicating it was time for them to leave. Zanny not joining us today? Echoe glanced towards May. No, he's spending time with Andy tonight, she grinned. Usually I would at least walk home with him, but this week I made an exception. I just feel... She hesitated. Feel what? Echoe wasn't sure if she should press or not. Technicolor. The word came out of Still in his muted, dull and dry-sounding voice. For a few moments Echoe couldn't help but stare at him. It was unusual for him to find anything he felt the need to interject into a normal conversation. In all honesty, Echoe wasn't sure if she was more surprised he bothered now, or about his choice of interjection. Technicolor didn't make any sense within the context of what they'd been talking about, but from the look on both May and Still's faces, she knew it at least had some meaning. She just wished she could even begin to understand what that meaning was. It always sounds different to how I imagine. May tilted her head thoughtfully. Drier somehow. Still shrugged and refocused his gaze ahead of them. A strange kind of silence fell around them, and Echoe couldn't help but wonder if it was really the best idea to try to get these two together. By this time, though, they had reached the clubhouse. Moving quickly inside, they were almost instantly met by Synth. His grin stretched pretty much from ear to ear as he raced towards them, slowing down just before he reached his uncle in order to show him his latest creation. You have it! He easily forced it into Still's hands. As with every single other piece he'd given him, Still placed his latest work into his art pad. You have a good time, my little one? Echoe swept Synth into her arms. Lizzie said Mac and me and Rye can do a big picture next time. Mac and Rye are your friends, are they? Echoe kept her tone light in order not to force the situation too much. He nodded. They're funny and they like big pictures too. That's nice. Maybe we can have them round for tea one day. What do you think? Yay! Synth clapped his hands together before wriggling down from her lap in order to race towards his sister. Picker, Mama said I can have French round for dinner too. Sure, whatever. She rolled her eyes as she reached the rest of them. We're sleeping at Patches again this weekend, right? Her gaze met with Echoe's. Yes, you are. Echoe half narrowed her gaze on her daughter. Why? Echoe watched as her daughter's face puckered into an almost obnoxious expression and spoke with a voice dripping with all the sentiment of just trying to one-up her little brother. I just want to organise a sleepover with some of my new friends. I needed to know who to ask. Enjoyed what you've heard so far? Please consider subscribing to find out when the next part's being released. Thanks for watching. See ya!